Hello everyone, I'm back with the MIB3 and today I'm going to be talking about USB ports and USB support. So you really have one option if you're actually going to install it in your car. But if you're just looking for a test bench setup, this little guy here works great and it's way easier than using the separate hub and port. So there's the part number on this guy and you just give it 12 volts. There's another 12 volt pin for the illuminated ports there. And then there's a 5 volt trigger and a ground. So this one's pretty easy. This is what the pinout is. And then another thing to keep in mind is you will want to flip this 180 degrees. So you'll clip the pin off of your connector. This one still has it. You'll clip that off and you'll flip it 180 degrees and plug it in. And you will also have to shave off all of the other markings on there. Now, obviously, this isn't going to fit anywhere in a Mark 7. So in your Mark 7 car, you have two options for how you want to mount the port. So these go in that little cubby. This is the first one. So all the 2018 and up cars just have this guy down there. And then your 2016 and 2017 cars are going to have this with the aux port on it. And one thing you'll notice is this connector is super similar to this one and also the one on the hub. So how I got the wire for that is I just took one of the USB port harnesses and I cut it up. So obviously not the most cost-effective way to do this. So I am planning to find this connector and I will build somewhat of a harness to get this going. So right now I just have the ground and the two 12 volt pins just kind of pushed into the quad lock. There is no good place to wire this properly. You could obviously just cut the 12 volt and ground there and splice it in. That would probably be the easiest way. The other way you can do it is ground it somewhere, anywhere, and then run the 12 volt to your fuse panel. That would be the correct way to do it. But this is probably the easiest way, is just to cut and splice into there. And especially if you have a 2018 plus base model car where you're upgrading from the radio that looked like this, then you already have a non-factory harness there. So who really cares? You're cutting up a $17 part. If it is your factory car, I can't understand why you wouldn't want to cut it up. And then the 5 volt trigger is going to be a part of the quad lock. And this is the pin right here where you'll want to add that in. And I'm not sure where you can find a pin like that other than if you buy the harness and cut up the aux and cut up more things, you can acquire the pins. So this is what the regular MIB2 USB harness will have on it for your 5 volt for your normal USB port, and then this is for the aux. So I cut that there, and what I cut off for the aux port there is for the power for the hub. And then you can also seal, you can seal any of these pins. So you'll stick your pick tool in right about there. This one's already popped open. And you'll fold it up, stick your pick tool in there first, pull it out, and then you'll stick it in again there. And you'll be able to pull the pin all the way out. And then with that, you'll splice that onto the 5 volt, and it will go into that white connector there where your CAN bus lines are on the pin I showed before. Okay, so that's all this is your bench setup. This is your two options here. I have not tested aux with the MIB3. I don't know if it's compatible. I don't know if any of these cars ever came with it. There's not even an option for playing like USB iPod. So there's no aux there. I'm not sure if it's compatible. So that would make sense why you wouldn't want this, why you'd want to grab one of these. This is the part number that's on this. I don't know if that's for this actual piece here or if that's for the combination of that and the USB port, because that would be pretty expensive. But yeah, I think it may be tricky just to find the plastic. This is from my car when I pulled it out. So anyways, onto the hub. So the part number is right there. And these are pretty cheap. I think I paid 20 bucks for this thing on eBay. And there's the connector there. And you'll notice both of these plugs are flipped 180 degrees to get this to work. So this is the cable that came with the factory USB port, and this is a cable that I ordered. They're pretty expensive cables. I wouldn't buy the cheap ones. They work. I do have a cheapy Chinese one for my display in my car, and it's worked fine for almost a year now, so nothing wrong with that. But especially if you have to unplug them a couple times, and just, it's worth it to spend the extra, what, $7 to get the nicer cable with, you know, the metal and everything. So this is going to be the same wiring as before there. You'll flip this one. So this purple connector is what's going to run to the USB port, this guy here. And the green connector is going to run to the MIB3. And this is the part number for this little USB. So you'll have to pick one of these up. This one was 17 bucks. I don't know if it's genuine. It looked pretty genuine. So, yeah, I was expecting a used part, but this just simply slides into one of these. I don't want to put it in there because it's pretty tricky to get out. I ended up using 2 of the radio removal keys. So you will already have some of these, and I used 2 of them to get it out. And this is kind of my process. So I just pulled those 2, put my fingers in the holes, pulled the 2 radio keys out, and it slid out. So pretty easy. It's a pretty tight fit. There's one side you want to start from. You want to start from this side here. So put the key in this side first, and then the key in here second. And you can see I kind of messed it up. That was me trying before I tried the keys, so hopefully the radio keys won't mess it up too much. Okay, so let's see it working. So I'll plug in our USB port. I also had to snap off the extra 5-volt on this, which kind of hurt to do because these are expensive cables, and I do need to use them on the MIB2 sometimes, but I should still be able to get it all work. So there you go, easy as that. And then I have a USB Type-C cable here, and I'm going to plug in a Google Pixel for Android Auto. Obviously this works on CarPlay too. So there you go, it's charging and popped up right there. Google Pixel XL. And it's gonna make me swipe up to verify that. All right, so here it is working. You can see the cable comes down to our port here. It's plugged in over there, and here's Android Auto. Took me a couple of tries to get it working. I'm not a big Android guy anymore, but as you can see, it is working. Slow as hell. It's the Google Pixel's fault. It's like a 10-year-old phone at this point. So yeah, on my iPhone though, runs great. Just about as good as the wireless does. Man, this is pretty awful. If you still have a Google Pixel, it's time to get a new one. Yeah, I don't really even know what's happening here. I'm just kind of tapping stuff. You'll see I unplug it and it turns off just like that. And let's see here if we can just kind of play music on it like an iPod type device. So yeah, still nothing over here, unfortunately. And if I go phone, Pixel XL, so it connects to the phone. I'm assuming it does a Bluetooth handshake. Yeah, so it connects to Bluetooth automatically when you plug it in. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the USB hub. So this is ready for you guys to throw in your cars. Probably not super fun to wire. Definitely not something I'm looking forward to putting together. I do have that harness. I upgraded from the screen originally, so I will probably just do a cut and splice to get this hub going. And then as to where you put this, I'm pretty sure there's enough space just behind where this mounts, behind that cubby, just to throw it there. So you'll have to run the power and ground back, or you could actually splice this possibly behind the display and then run the wires down. So yeah, that's where I'm pretty sure it should fit. Mr. Fix on YouTube is kind of how I figured all this out. So thanks to him. I'll link that video in the description. Kind of goes over the same things, but probably in a little bit more detail. And it's also in an MIB2 context where this is MIB3, but it's pretty much exactly the same. So in the future, I plan to sell these ports, the hubs, and I also want to build some sort of harness to make this easier. So you'll have that pin on the end, so you can just plug the pin right into your connector. And then I'm going to try to figure out hopefully a better 12-volt solution. The real good way to do this is to just wire to the fuse box. So I may just connect super long power and ground wires, and you can decide if you want to cut them down and splice it into your harness, or if you want to run them all the way to the fuse box. So yeah, I should be able to offer these USB ports around $29. The hubs, same thing, and the harness will be pretty cheap. I may even just include it in a full kit. So I may just sell the port, the hub, and the harness all together, and that should be a good USB solution. So obviously you don't have to do this. CarPlay is wireless, same with Android Auto. So if that's what you like, which is what I like, then you don't have to run the USB port. I think just for completion and just for me installing it in my car, having that experience to be able to help you guys out if you have any problems doing it yourself would be good. So probably something I will throw in. And it's also just nice to have a car where everything works as intended. So, you know, just having the USB port that it doesn't work kind of sucks. Same with having navigation that doesn't work. I have a telematics module on the way with GPS antenna, so I'm hoping I can just throw the telematics module somewhere. It looks pretty big. I don't know where it's gonna go. And then like a GPS antenna mounted up in the dash just to get good enough signal. Should be nice, especially when, you know, the street's just showing up there, and maybe we can get compass working as well. I don't know if any CarNet stuff will work, but I believe the module that I'm getting is also the one that connects to LTE or 5G for CarNet, so there may be some stuff there as well. But yeah, that is the MIB3 USB port. It would work on a 2 as well. The reason you'd hook this up to a 2 is if you want more ports, or it sometimes could be cheaper than buying the smart ports because they are kind of expensive. So you can run these two on a MIB2 and it'll work just the same way. So thanks for all watching, and let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments.